and I'm very excited to welcome back to the program for the first time in a while, the Funk Master, the UFC Bantamweight Champion, the one and only Aljamain Sterling. There he is, also coming prepared with a really fancy microphone like Eric Nixick did. How are you, Aljo?
I'm good. Just finished up some PT work. Just getting everything strong for fight day.
I wish you were here in studio, Aljo. I'd give you a big old hug. Can we hug it out? Can we hug it out, Aljo? Where are we at? I love that you're here. Thank you.
I don't know what to think, man. I feel like I don't know.
Well, tell me.
I feel like in a weird way, you and DC kind of played and I spoke to DC about this, but I feel like you guys kind of done what the fans have done. Look at something and kind of read a headline and then kind of ran with it, not really knowing the whole picture of what actually happened. And I think that kind of helped paint the picture of me being the bad guy for his friends pushing a belt in front of his face to take a picture with it, you know? So I felt like there was a lot of misguided hate, and it is what it is. Like, the fans are going to think whatever they want to think. But I felt like when it came from that level, it kind of made it made me feel like, damn, these guys fell for that too, or kind of played into the whole headline game as well. That was kind of weird. But here we are.
Well, I'm happy we're able to talk it out. And by the way, just for the record, you know, a lot of people in this game, a lot of sensitive cats in this game. And there's a lot of people who would feel the way that you're feeling about me and who would say, to hell with you. I don't want to talk to you again. So I have a lot of respect, and it's not just about me personally and coming on my show. It says a lot about you that you would, you know, come on and maybe not feel a certain way about someone, but still come on and entertain and interview and talk it out, because I do want to talk it out. I appreciate and respect that. Now, you mentioned the headline thing. What do you mean by that? I'm being sincere when I ask, like, because I watched the fight. I saw what I saw. And by the way, just to reiterate, I never questioned whether or not you should be given the belt. It was a DQ. It was illegal. It was legit. I never said you acted anything. It was only the aftermath that I was critical of.
That's what I was talking about. And the aftermath was partially of what happened when I got back from the hospital after being cleared that I had no bleeding on my brain. Mm-hmm. So everyone that said, you didn't have a concussion, CAT scans and MRIs of the brain don't reveal concussions. So for all my doctors out there, you guys are such idiots. CAT scans show bleeding of the brain, which is what I got because I took a shot. I did not see. They wanted to make sure I was okay. Everything was ruled out. I was okay. As I was in the hospital bed, I'm texting Dana White, I need to have this rematch ASAP, until I tried to work out and I couldn't work out because of the atrophy in my muscles in my arm, where the neck injury got a lot worse. I mean, for me to even get to where I've gotten to with this injury, honestly, I think it says a lot about my mental fortitude. But for people who don't want to say you faked the surgery, that I was going to get, win or lose, I was going to get the surgery, win or lose. And unfortunately, Yan was just stupid and whatever. But to going back to what you said, your aftermath, not necessarily a headline, but to see the picture and think like that's what I was doing, like parading around with the belt, which is not what I was doing. I only started doing that when people started giving me shit for my friends and families telling me to take a picture with them. And because they posted it, I never posted it. I became the bad guy. And at that point, I was like, so I'm going to keep explaining myself for people to keep ignoring what I'm saying. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take pictures with the belt. Here you go. I am the champ, because guess what? I am the champ. Yeah. If you have a competition and you abide by the rules and the playoffs, the NFL, if it's overtime and you commit a foul and an illegal move, you get penalized, whether it's for the belt. If people want to say you shouldn't be able to win a belt, then you shouldn't be able to win a fight, because a fight is still a fight, whether it's a championship setting or it's not, you know? So I just needed to make it make sense. And then I could be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. So whether or not there was a title on the line, the guy gets DQ'd. And I think it's the smart and right thing to do, because guys are getting away with all these fouls. I was actually surprised that ref, I think it might have been Tyone, took a point from Sam Alvey's opponent, and it took another point when he actually poked him in the eye again. I was like, thank God, because we're finally seeing people get penalized for their actions. That stuff that they changed the outcome of the fight. So you should get freebies every single fight. That makes no sense.
The first warning should be in the locker room, and then the first infraction should be, it's like you don't do a face mask in the NFL and be like, There's your warning. No, the first face mask is a penalty.
It's the most bizarre concept. Only our sport where we can say, based on my subjective viewpoint, I don't think you were hurt enough for me to deem this a no contest or a disqualification. In the words of John McCarthy, who was saying, he's the gold standard of MMA refereeing, but this guy is saying he would have handled the situation differently. So the guy commits a blatant foul after you told him, and you would have done it differently. So when do we ever DQ people?
No, listen, I had no problem with all of that. And honestly, the part that, as we're talking this out, I think this is good. It's healthy. I hope you don't mind. It was the Henry Cejudo face-off that rubbed me the wrong way, because you literally said the day before, we're going to run it back. And then I understand you're trolling.
But here you are. What? You heard that I said that.
So then why are you posting that?
Because I saw him at the hotel, and I was like, let's take a picture together, because people are going to just be pissed.
So then how can you get pissed by us getting pissed? You got the reaction that you wanted.
Whoa. But I never said this is the match that's happening.
Well, it was like, you said something like, let's run it. I'm the money. I don't remember exactly.
I said we could fight soon, know, so there's nothing wrong with me saying that, but that didn't say that was the next fight. I already said what the next fight was. So when people started doing it, I'm like, man, you guys are too easy. This
got us. You're good. You're a good troll then. Respect.
But it is what it is,
And then it was like the WWE video, and then you really leaned into it. Did you not? I mean, did you not lean into it? Like you did. We were trying to get us upset.
Well, at that point, people were hating on me for walking around with a belt that I never walked around with. I'm like, I'm confused. I left the belt in the cage. It showed up at my house, and I'm being trolled. You know what? Let's flip the script and get people more riled up. Let's fan the flame a little bit. If this is what people are going to give me shit for, I might as well have fun with it instead of trying to, no, I'm sorry, guys. It wasn't. Screw you guys. Like, go fuck yourself. That's how I felt, So it's like, you want to play hard nose and hardball with me and try to make me feel bad? Dude, I worked my ass off to get to this position. I got no handouts. I fought a killer's roll of guys, 3 guys in the top 5, beat them all, choked out the guy that's supposed to be the next guy that ended up losing again, still making the same mistake. Like, this division is one of the hottest divisions. And for me to get to where I've gotten to, I like to think I'm doing pretty good in life.
You are.
So
you are.
Let's just have the rematch, and then we can shut everybody up. I know the Russian fans really love their guy, which is Aljamain the Funk Master Sterling. And I want to make sure the Russian fans have someone to cheer for, which is going to be Aljamain Funk Master Sterling on October 30th, So I want to make sure all the Russian fans love me.
How would you describe the last 5 months for you? Like, because it has been a little bit, you were always kind of like a fan favorite, right? And you had this nice relationship, and then you have to deal with all of this and a neck surgery. And, like there's a lot that's happened in the last 5 months for you. Has it gone too much at times? Has it been a little overwhelming?
No, I would say the only thing that has ever bothered me was like, sometimes you wake up and you're just not in the mood, and then you see something, you're just like, yesterday it was fun to entertain this. Right now, I just don't feel like doing it right now. You know what I mean? Like at some points you do get tired, like any other human being would. But other than that, nothing has really bothered me than just trying to get my body back into shape. And that's honestly the most honest thing I could say. That's why I was kind of hoping for the fight to be in December. Just so I can have a little bit more time to recover. There's some lingering issues, and this is just me being honest and transparent, which I always am with the fans. And you can say whatever you want to say. He's backing out or making excuses. Dude, I had a very serious neck injury, and I lost a good amount of muscle, and I'm trying to repair, rebuild the nerve damage that happened in my arm. And it's better. But to say it's where it was before a couple of fights ago, would be just straight up lying, But like I said, I fought with limitations plenty of times. I know a lot of people have other limitations, whether it's their hand, their wrist. So this is just part of the game. This is part of my journey, my story, and I got to figure out a way to win with what I got. So I'm just trying to do what I can within this time frame to get my body to where it needs to be so that I can perform the best I can perform. Because I truly do believe I'm honestly better than Petr Yan. I'm not saying the guy's not good. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be in a position that he's in. He's a tough dude. But being in there with that guy, knowing how I felt the day of, I just truly feel like if that's the best version of him, and this is me being honest, if I felt like he was really like kicking my ass and I could not do anything if we had 10 fights, that's a problem. I would openly admit that, hey, coach, we got some stuff we need to work on. But I truly did not feel like that. I feel like I beat that guy seven, eight, 9 out of 10 times. That's my personal opinion. When I'm on, I feel like that guy doesn't even touch me, So, like I said, I'm not trying to downplay the opponent. I think he's a very tough dude, but I feel like when you're in there with someone, you kind of know what you got. And if that was the best Petr Yan and that was the best he could do with this guy who was standing in front of him, who was pretty much a walking corpse. I was a walking corpse just throwing these pitter-patter punches that had nothing on it. I couldn't put anything on it. I was like, dude, this is all you're going to get out of me right now. And if that's all you can do, when I feel good, I like my chances. And that's pretty much it. That's why I'm like, I hope the fans are excited for this fight. Because if I were to make the same mistake I did in the last one, I'm just a complete moron and I deserve to get my ass kicked, So I can honestly say that. But I truly do think I get my body right, I'm going to be a problem for this guy.
Okay, so a few things there. Fascinating stuff. What are or were the mistakes that you made in that fight? Could you tell us?
Like, people can say this is weird all they want. I truly did not eat anything the day before the day of the fight. I had 2 eggs, 2 pancakes, and that was it. I know people are going to say, but you said you didn't eat. Like, that's not a proper nutritious meal to go in from 10:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. fighting and not having anything else in that window. So if you think that is adequate fuel for a 25-minute fight, you're out of your bird and you've never competed at a high level.
Why didn't you eat? Were you not feeling well?
So we normally are allowed to leave to go eat, but because of COVID, we had to order food to the hotel, and I just had the UFC PI team give me the food that they recommended I ate, and that was all I had for breakfast. And I'm not saying they didn't give me other portions of food. They gave me a lunch and a dinner portion, but I only eat one big time, and then I fight a couple hours later. So for this time, I didn't quite understand how much later I was fighting in the day from what I ate. And then by the time I realized, like, yo, man, I'm starving, but I can't eat anything because it's too close to the fight. It was a little too late. The ship has sailed. For me to eat a full thing, I would have probably puked all over myself in the cage, and I still would have felt like shit. So hindsight's 2020. And even feeling like that, I talked to Ray, and I was like, knowing what I could have done, like just watching the fight in hindsight, I could have maybe been a little bit more calculated, spun less, shoot for less takedowns, and it would have been a very boring fight. So it's a catch-22. It would have been a more boring fight. People probably wouldn't have been excited for the rematch, and I would have probably got the win, but it would have been a very, very boring fight. A lot of circling, just staying long, touching, trying to point score. And my mindset before that was, if I could win 3 rounds, I win the fight. Last 10 minutes, it could be as boring as it wants. Just hold him to his leg and hug him to death, and you're gonna win the fight. And that was my mindset going in. 3 out of 2, I win. And it just, whatever. It got ugly, and it got uglier.
Any concern? You mentioned, you wanted December, a little more time. You did come off neck surgery. Any concern that you might not be ready for October 30th?
Yeah, there's always a concern about that. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. And the only concern really is that I'm not going to be at the best that I could have possibly been in. Like I said, this surgery has been night and day, like from sleeping at night, not waking up in the middle of the night with neck pain, nerve pain, numbing, tingling down my arm, and actually having most of my strength back. It's been great. Like even today we did some work and I've already come up a couple of pounds from what I did on Monday, so the stability is finally starting to come back, and hopefully we could just get the nerves firing the way that they should fire. And this way I could perform. It's one thing, like, you just don't want to fight knowing that you could have done more, or knowing that you could have been in a better situation. And I think that's the most important thing, because win or lose, I'm not going to get another shot for a while unless I just take out a killer's row of contenders. Or, even if with a win, I'm still going to be in the same position trying to get my body to where it needs to be. So you never want to go into a fight not feeling like you never want to go into a fight feeling like you could have done more, but you were limited physically, so you couldn't. And that's been the theme of a lot of my training camps, having to take 2 days off, 3 days off, a week off, because I would get bad stingers in my neck. And when you have to sacrifice that much downtime from training, you kind of start to wonder, like, what you could have been or what you could have done, or how much more you could have learned and worked on. So I'm just trying to take everything day by day. And I'm truly excited for the rematch, because I just want to put all the talk to rest finally and give some people new stuff to talk about. Cause like, yo, this material is getting old. We've seen this story one too many times, you know?
Why do you think you wouldn't get another crack if you lost? Like, why would you have to go through a murderer's row?
Because the story of my career has been, how can we keep Sterling from getting a title shot?
You feel that way?
That's what it's felt like,
okay.
You know? And for anyone to say it hasn't felt like that, I think you have to kind of look at everything I've had to go through just to get to this position. And it's pretty fascinating. There's no secret. I think it's fair to say that the UFC has their favorites, the people that they think can do certain things. And, you know, they have their war room where they put everything out and lay it out like they think this person might win. If they win, this is where everything's going to be, kind of like a spider web kind of thing. And I don't know if after I come in, I don't know if it's because I talked about fighter pay before when I was a free agent and, you know, when I was a teacher and I was like, yeah, I could have been making more money as a teacher. It was the truth. I don't know if that kind of rubbed them the wrong way about me or whatever it was, but it's
that was like 7 years ago. You think they still remember that?
Dude, you never know, man.
Yeah, I know.
You never know.
I mean, take it from me. They hold grudges, Aljo. I know for a fact.
Well, Ariel, it might be deserved on your end.
Wow, oh, really? How so, Aljo? How so? Do tell.
From how I hear the story.
Oh,
like the breaking the news stuff. I don't know.
Let's go.
You know,
let's go.
I don't know the whole details.
Who's your source? Brendan Schaub? Who's your source?
Well, I just heard it from Joe Rogan talking about it.
Oh, Joe Rogan. Okay. Let me say once. Can I clear the air for the 50th time about that one? What Joe Rogan has spewed is 1,000% false. What Brendan Schaub has then parroted is 1,000% false. Rogan's source is Dana White. Brendan's source is Joe Rogan. I think you know me long enough. I think Iaquinta and Ray and Chris and everyone on the team know me long enough, regardless of anyone else you want to talk. If someone tells me something off the record, and I'm sure you've told me things off the record, if I go out and report it, I should be done. There is no way that I would practice that kind of journalism and still be here 13 years later. If you tell me something in confidence and I report it, I should never be talked to again. I should be outlawed. I should be banned from covering the sport, any promotion. That never happened, the story that Rogan told. That never happened, the story that Brendan talked about a couple of weeks ago. 1,000% false. And in fact, it's very damaging to my reputation because that's the kind of stuff that a hack journalist does. I'm not a hack journalist. I got that the same way I get any piece of news, confirmed it with sources. Not a single person ever told me, don't report this. We brought you in a corner. That whole BS story that Rogan spewed and has somehow been like regurgitated and recycled is a lie. It almost makes me wonder what other things Rogan is lying about on his show, but that's a different story for a different day. All I'm saying is that's 100% lie and very irresponsible for a guy like that with a platform like that to talk about me like that without knowing that side of the story. The only reason why he told that story was because Dana White was trying to justify the stupid banning, and then they went out and tried to make me out to be the bad guy. So that's a lie. Produce another story where I did that, you ain't gonna find one. So I just want to say nothing is justified in terms of my situation. That never happened. Don't listen to those guys. You feel me?
No, I will say in Rogan's defense, I'm pretty sure he does clarify, like, this is what I heard. And if this
guess what? That's a stupid fucking reason to say a story when you're talking about someone's career, right? This is what I heard. This guy went out irresponsibly and is dealing with the repercussions. No. Find out the truth and then come talk about it. I'm sorry I get fired up about it, but you can understand as someone who has dealt with the repercussions of people speaking irresponsibly on your behalf, it's a stupid freaking reason. And Brendan, for regurgitating it 5 years later, I've had my own issues with him. In fact, I'll break some news. He just reached out to me this morning, Brendan, and apologized to me for regurgitating false lies. False lies. That's redundant about me. And I said, thanks for reaching out, Brendan. I look forward to you doing it on the air the same way you said lies about me. You should probably go on the air and apologize and rectify. So I wait for that day. Until then, God bless.
Well, that's good. That's making ground. I mean, I guess when people have a podcast platform in general, when they have news is kind of like the talking point. So I don't know, maybe I can't say if it's right or wrong because I think every person is different, but that does clarify a lot. Because again, I don't read into the tabloids of everything because it's like, you never know. Like you see a headline and you start to judge people. I think it's the craziest thing you could do because you don't know about anything. Right. You're just hearing all hearsay. So I try to live my life.
And that's actually why I was bummed, because I felt like, hey, maybe I was wrong. As we tie this back to you, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was unfair. Now, like part of the gig that I'm in, D-season, anyone, like you're asked to give your opinion, but I've always tried to be fair, and I've always tried to be, ethical and down the middle. And if it's not so good, you say it. And if it is good, you say it as well. I think 95% of the things that I say are positive and uplifting and helpful towards fighters, but sometimes you kind of have to say it, like it is. And I do hope like I never said you didn't deserve the belt. I never said you were a faker. I never said that, that was acting or anything like that. It was just the aftermath, which look, we can all have takes on each other's personality or how we behave. But in terms of the actual competition, I was 1000% in agreement with how that thing went down. Like the rules were broken. And as a result, the rules state you should be the champion. So anyway, I'm happy that we're able to somewhat clear the air here. I don't know how you still feel about me. I mean, the fact that you're here at least is good enough for me. You don't have to be my best friend or anything like that. And to go back to the previous, but have I ever wronged you prior to any of that? Have I ever did you ever feel like I stabbed you in the back or said something that you told me not to say? Did that ever happen?
No, not with me. No, I couldn't say that. No.
So there you go. So we're boys.
I will say one thing about that whole faking and a concussion. When you get blasted in the face like that unexpectedly in a position where you think you're safe, and I know Mighty Mouse is giving me shit about this too, and then he proceeded to, I think, the very next week to get knocked out with a knee.
That's true. That was crazy how that happened.
Karma has a very mysterious ways of working, and I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but it's you talk shit about a position that you train yourself. If you are in a fight and you take a bad shot and get stuffed and the guy has your head and he's planted his hands on it and you just get up blindly and get blasted in the face, you deserve that. If I take a bad shot and you stuff my head, tactically and strategically, you should wait till you have a clear path to get up safely. Now, if you're going to try to tell me I'm stalling the fight because I don't want to get up because I'm trying to get up safely, I think there's some type of I think something's probably off in your head. That's really what I think, because I'm you're trying to tell me I should have gotten up in that position where I could have just gotten my clock cleaned and then boom, 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 the fight's over. No, I think I'm a pretty smart fighter. Even though I'm exhausted, I'm going to take my time and intelligently get up so that I can show that I'm still trying to stay in the fight. Now, people are saying that I was rolling my eyes and everything. I got hit. I was confused. I got blasted. So if you're saying that was an acting performance, I get 5 minutes to recover. So if I want to lay down on the ground instead of standing up and being all dazed and confused, I'm going to lay on the ground because I've done that before where I got rocked and try to stand up and you fall right over. It's just not the smart thing to do. So I sat on the floor. I laid down. I'm trying to recover. And again, I'm exhausted. And I've admitted this multiple times. So the ref is supposed to give me my 5 minutes. The doctor came in. As he was checking me, he thought the 5 minutes wouldn't be sufficient enough and called the fight. That's not on me. And as one, I don't think fighters should be put in that situation to feel like you need to carry the warrior shield. Rah, you are a warrior. You're Anthony Smith. You're a Lionheart. Oh my God, I can't believe you're amazing. You took an illegal shot and you continued. What a warrior. No, that's absolutely stupid. Let me blast him in the head with the knee and then we can continue with the fight. How about that? The same way I couldn't see it. Let me let you close your eyes, spin you around a couple of times and blast you in the head and then see if we can continue the fight. I get so confused by the logic, and this is why I just troll, because it's dude, I can't have a reasonable conversation with some of these people. So it's you know what?
Now the Anthony Smith thing is crazy. I've said to him till this day that he should have taken the belt. You can't go to the bank and deposit, warrior spirit. That doesn't happen. So that could change your life forever. So I agree with you 100% about that.
And his knee was nowhere near the same as mine.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere near the same as mine.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you one last thing, because I know you have to go. You and Matt Serra, you guys cool now?
Yeah, we've been cool.
Okay. I know there was that little thing and you had the video, but any chance he corners you, or is he still retired from cornering?
That still remains to be seen. Hopefully.
All right.
I'm hoping he comes out for this one, because that was always the plan. And I've spoken to him about it before making the decision, and I spoke to him after that whole thing came out. And I told him, like, I honestly didn't think it would have come to a situation like that where he would have felt that hurt. And it was more so me doing kind of what he told me, like, do what makes you feel the most comfortable because you're the guy going in there to battle. And, I did what I thought was right in terms of the COVID situation. We had to only bring our people that we can work out with, and Matt was just, he was doing his thing. And he was more afraid about the COVID than a lot of us were. So it was just kind of one of those situations where I was like, well, I kind of need you here, so if it's going to be a bother, maybe we just wait till the next fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always the plan, at least of my intentions, so I think things kind of just got maybe lost in translation, or maybe the fight week kind of made things a little bit more real.
Yeah.
Where it seemed like, oh man, I'm not in the corner, and I should be there kind of thing. So I don't know if that's what it was, but this is just me just talking out loud,
Well, by the way, I was surprised, like MSG is the following week. Why aren't you on the MSG card, New Yorker?
I still can't fight in New York
because
the New York State Commission won't change the ruling. I had a CAT scan on my brain where I actually have 2 spots on my brain where it's like blood. They don't know if it was dry or if it was like active. So in order for me to make my debut in Las Vegas, I had to get a CAT scan, and then they had to monitor it every 6 months and after every fight for a couple of years. They did that, and then they kind of just stopped doing it because the bleeding pretty much stayed the same, so nothing changed. There's no anomalies in my brain where I would need to have surgery to continue to compete as an athlete. So I'm not the only fighter that has happened to it. It's just the way they have their rules in the medical side or something, the way it's written. All they have to do is just get someone and change it. I think it just might be a money thing, as always. Or
that sucks. Isn't that a bummer that you can't fight in your hometown?
Yeah, I've only fought in New York as an amateur.
Right.
So it's kind of shitty.
Man. Well, October 30th, Abu Dhabi, the rematch. Hopefully you continue to get better. You're healthy. You're good to go. Hey, man, I really appreciate this. Honestly, I don't know if we accomplished anything here, but just the fact that you would come on means a lot. I respect you greatly. I hope you know it was never personal. It's just talking about the gig. And this is like for anyone. Like I always say, if you have a problem, I'd love for you to come on and we could talk privately. We could talk publicly. Like life is too short for grudges. So I think it just says a lot about you that you would come on.
I think people tend to, cause I get a lot of tweets sometimes saying like, oh yeah, I know you're bothered. I'm like, I don't think people understand the type of person I am. I'm not one to really hold grudges, even against family. I've had a lot of situations where I probably should. And, I'm just not like that, So, do you have an issue? You have an issue. You talk it out, whatever it is. But I kind of tend to get over things relatively quick. So, maybe for me, it's water under a bridge. I just, like I said, I said my piece on it and that's all I had to say.
Yeah.
And other than that, you say what you say. And I'm like, okay, at least you understand where I'm coming from. And I understand where you're coming from. And whether or not we agree, that's whatever. But I have no problem, So I'm always going to be a fan of the sport and obviously a fan of your work and other journalists out there and stuff like that. So if something bothers me, I just feel sometimes you just need to say it. So
for sure. Don't let it bottle up inside. Yeah. And thanks for hearing me out about that other stuff. I apologize. I don't think I've ever said the F word in my entire career on air, but it gets annoying, as you know, when people are saying things that are wrong, that are lies, that are bold-faced lies, that are damn. Yeah. Like I could live with someone saying you suck as a journalist. I could live with someone saying like that was a bad interview. But when you're saying that I'm doing something unethical and it never happened, like it couldn't have even been anywhere near what they're saying, like a total fabrication, none of it happened. And they have a platform like those guys do, it's annoying. And I think you can sympathize with you probably more than anyone could probably sympathize with that. So thanks for hearing me out.
100%.
Thanks.
Yeah, no doubt.
All the best. Looking forward to the fight. Aljo, you're the man.
Thanks.
All right.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. There he is. Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master, kind enough to join us, the reigning defending UFC bantamweight champion. And yes, it's true. I am sorry. But listen, you hear all this stuff. I mean, it's constant, people trying to, and I know some of it might be rooted in jealousy or just, trying to take you down.